person that is just always cold no matter what. So I love a good space heater. This one is great from Westinghouse. Because it's weatherproof. Yes, it's oscillating, it's infrared, and I can use it outside. Now, we're gonna take you through all of the details, but it's fantastic. I love that it's from a brand that we know and trust, Westinghouse. You've got a very easy to use dashboard, as I call it, and we're gonna take you through so that you'll understand exactly when you get it home. But you've got it on 5 Flex, so it's about $36 to get home. And this, to me, allows you to take advantage of those beautiful sunsets without freezing while you're sitting out watching them. Or if you just like to be out on your patio or porch or your lanai and gazebo without being uncomfortably cold. Now, Lou Caputo is joining us to give us all of the details on our new heater. Lou, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome, Tamara. You know what? This is exciting because this is, to my knowledge, the first heater that you can use inside your house as well as outside your house, because it is sealed up for the elements. You can have it out there and it can get wet, so you don't need to worry about that. It does come with a remote control with a digital display on it. As you just mentioned, the dashboard on top of this is absolutely fantastic because with this, you can control 2 different heat settings. There's a high setting and a low setting. High setting's 1200 watts, low setting 600 watts. It has a swing function, so we'll rotate back and forth. And you can also set a timer on this, a half hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. Now, this is an infrared heater, so it doesn't heat the air in the room. What infrared heaters do is they heat objects and people in the room, okay? Which means that over time, your couch and your furniture and things like that, they're gonna start emitting heat and start radiating heat, which is gonna help keep your room nice and toasty warm. It does have a reflector in the back, and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put this on high, because believe it or not, right now it's on low, and you can see the glow coming off of this right here. If you look at the control panel on top, very easy to understand. Everything's written out with big letters on it. You've got different lights that light up. I'm even going to turn on the swing function, and you'll see once I do that how it starts rotating back and forth. And I did that using the remote control, so I'm going to hold the remote up here so you guys can see this. But that's what the remote looks like, and the remote actually has everything on here that you need, a nice big LCD display. So Tamara, you can see absolutely everything on there. But the thing about infrared heat that's really neat is that it's what we call sort of like that bone-soothing warmth, Tamara. It's that heat that, you know, when you get the people that say like they're cold to the bone, this is gonna warm you up for sure.
Yes, and that's what we love about it. That's what you're gonna love about it. You're gonna find that when you get it home, you turn it on, you use it all the time. So I'm glad that we have it for you at the beginning of the season, before it gets, well, dare I say, before it gets too cold, because in some places the temperature has already started to drop. But now is the time to go ahead and really enjoy the outside without the uncomfortable that outside can bring. Oscillating like we have ours in the studio, or it doesn't have to. It's completely up to you. The fact that it only weighs 6 pounds means it's easy for you to move it around, and you can, and maybe you will when you get it home. You just plug it in, one plug, and that's the end. Couldn't be easier. It's from a brand called Westinghouse, a brand that we've all grown up with and know and trust, and we would happily send it to you. So maybe you're looking at this and saying, I think that's great, but it's not gonna be for me. It's gonna be for a gift. Maybe you have a family, a relative, maybe it's parents who like to sit down and sit on the porch and, you know, talk to their neighbors, but it can be uncomfortably cold at times. Send this to them. It can be an early Christmas gift or just because I know it's gonna benefit you, and you go for it. We've got free shipping, so whether we're sending it to you or whether we're sending it to your gift recipient, let us know, and guess what? You can cross their name off your list. Lou, when I look at this, just the ease of use and the fact that now I'm not relegated to one area of my home. I can literally use my home and all the areas outside of my home as well.
Yeah, you can bring this out to your patio. If you're an RVer, you can bring this with you and sit outside in your campsite. And you know what, to show that to you, we did something kind of fun. We actually have one of the heaters that's on, and it's on high, sitting inside of this fish tank, and there's water running down the front of this, as you can see that right there. And it's, and it's getting all over this. It's getting in the elements. I mean, I can see it draining into the bottom of this, and that's definitely on high right now. I mean, I can feel the heat coming off of that. But that's just to show you that you don't need to worry if you're outside outside and let's say it snows or it's drizzling or something, it's going to be fine outdoors. You don't need to worry about it. And the reason that this is so convenient that way too is that it only weighs 7 pounds. So you can pick this up and carry this with you, totally portable, no matter where you're going inside your home or outside your home. I mean, that's why we say it's a 4-season heater. You can use it in the winter, spring, summer, and fall. Those chilly summer nights sometimes we get, in the fall where it's really not cold yet, but you want to get out there. No, I'm here. Hello?
Did you lose me?
I might have, I don't know. I see you. Do you hear me? Hello? Oh, okay, all right. So, sorry for the confusion, folks. But when you look at this, you can see it's got that really cool control panel on top. And what you get to do with this is you get to practice what we call zone heating. And zone heating is that whole concept where you don't heat the whole house because you've got one room that's cold or one room that's drafty or maybe one person that's cold. You just use this heater to supplement your home heating. So you're not raising your thermostat and throwing money out the window. I always like to use the example for people. If I got a 4-burner stove and I'm going to boil 1 pot of water, do I turn all 4 burners on? No, of course not. I just do the 1 burner. This is your 1 burner. You take this with you from room to room. You bring it out to your porch, your lanai. As I said, if you're an RVer, you can take it with you and bring it when you're going out on location. And I want you to see one more time down here when you're looking at this guy. This water has been running this whole time. This unit is clearly on and it's on high, and the water is not bothering this at all. So again, this is one of the first heaters I've ever seen that is truly indoor-outdoor. I've seen propane heaters before where people claim that, but remember, this is electric. And there's 2 settings on this. There's a 600 watts at the low setting, 1200 watts on the high setting. And it does have that mirror in the background of this, so it's going to reflect that heat. But remember what I said earlier about radiant heat? It feels like the warmth of the sun, meaning you feel it to the bone. Even if you've got somebody in your family who says that they're thin-skinned, they are going to feel that all the way, and it's going to warm them up. And remember, radiant heaters, infrared heaters, they heat up objects and people in the room, not the air. So you're not dependent on the air. So even if you're outside and there's a breeze, you'll still be warm because you're not counting on the air to carry that heat towards you. Isn't that something? Look at that. And look at that water down there draining all the way down on this. It's really remarkable. I've never seen anybody do this with a heater before, and that's why we like to do stuff like this. So you folks at home can see that it's not just going to stand up to a spray bottle or a little bit of mist. No, we're talking about we've got a hose right on this thing, filling it full of water, and you can clearly see this is still on. And in fact, I can still feel the heat. Now, if that were a heater that was blowing air, it would be blowing water all over the place, number one, but it would also be cooling off the air because of the water, because this is radiant. That's not the case. I can feel that infrared all the way down to the bones in my hands, and that's that wonderful feeling. So if you've got that older person in your family who always complains about how, they never get warm, they never feel hot, this is going to do it for them. It's going to warm them up. And the fact that I can take this remote, no matter where I am in the room, I don't even have to get out of the chair. If it feels too hot for me, I can turn it down. If I wanted to rotate and swing to share that heat with somebody else in the room, I can absolutely do that. It goes back and forth, and I can really feel that as that's coming around here. But remember, if you've never tried to sit outside with a heater, because sometimes you'll sit outside, you might be able to build a fire, or you might have a heater that blows hot air, but the minute there's a breeze and it pushes that heat somewhere else, you're freezing again. That is not going to be the case with a radiant heater. And remember, yes, it is water resistant, dust resistant. You can just leave it outside if you want to. You really don't have to worry about it because the elements aren't going to help it, Tamara. Aren't going to hurt it, Tamara, I should say.
That's right. I mean, okay, so I know I'm looking at our clock. I know we don't have a lot of time left in the presentation, but as you're seeing all of the details with your new heater and you're saying, wait a minute, it seems too good to be true. Well, it's Westinghouse. It's all of the innovation that Westinghouse brings.
That's right.
And we are happy to send them to you. This is what I don't want to happen. I don't want you to say, you know what, I think I'm going to keep in mind, maybe not now. And then it's going to be, some weeks go by, it gets colder, and then you wished you had it because you want to spend time outside. This is the time to go ahead and pick it up. We've got it on 5 Flex, which means you're getting it home for $36. You've got free shipping, which is another great savings there that you're not having to spend on shipping. You've got that remote control that's coming. You've got an easy-to-use control panel there. It oscillates, it's warm, and you can easily move this around. There are only 350 of these remaining. remaining. And just so you know, even though you've got free shipping on everything throughout the weekend, the 5 flex on this ends today. It's only for today. So you get a chance to get in on the best value and the most economical and affordable way to get it home. And think about this. If you're saying, I've got a patio, or I've got a lanai, maybe it's out in the garage. Maybe for you, it's just in the garage. And it's so uncomfortable to be in there. When the temperature drops, why not finally have a comfortable and easy way to do it? We're gonna go back to Lou to hear more, but while you're listening and watching the presentation, you can always shop on hsn.com, or you can always shop using the HSN app as well.
Well, let's talk about safety too, Tamara, because, you know, this is made by Westinghouse. They've been around since 1886, ever since George Westinghouse, you know, started Westinghouse Electric. So they've been around a while. They know electronics, okay? The safety on this is really amazing. For instance, you can see right now it's weather resistant. So we see the water draining into this, but it's not going to do anything to it. But in addition to that, this has tip over protection. If I take this and I take it off axis and I lean this forward, it's going to turn itself off the minute it feels that it's falling down. See what it did? It turned itself off just then. All right. If it overheats, it's going to do the same thing. It has thermal protection built in. So the minute that it feels that it's getting too hot inside, it'll turn itself off. So, you know, if the kids knock it over, it turns itself off. If for some reason it gets a blanket or something thrown over it, and it feels like it's getting too hot inside, it turns itself off. If it gets wet, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter, because this Westinghouse is made to be indoors and outdoors, 4 seasons. I love what you were saying a moment ago about using it in that porch. If you've got a workshop, you know, if you have a lanai, if you want to use it in your basement, your garage, if you want to use it in the attic. I mean, all these places. I keep going back to RVers because my wife and I just started doing that. And it's so true that the things you don't think you need, and you're like, you know what, a heater would be really great right now. This is a great one because you can use it outside as well. And, you know, and if you're one of those folks that's like, well, I'll make a fire. I'll sit out by the fire. How many times have you sat by a fire and the wind changed direction and now you're freezing? Okay, because it's blowing the heat, right? Yes. It's not going to happen with this camera. That infrared, remember, it warms objects and people. So I noticed while you were sitting there, the wall next to you on the corner was glowing red, and that's just a reflection, of course, coming off of the infrared on this. But I'll bet you that if that's swinging, that wall probably feels warm too. Now, the wall's not just warm, it's going to radiate heat into the rest of the room. That's how this works. It's a really efficient way to heat a room. Much better than turning up your thermostat. This is the easy way. It makes sense.
Right. And you're heating where you are and where you're going to be spending your time. And it's funny how sometimes we forget about all that comes along with the changing of the weather and the changing of the seasons. We look forward to the fun things, but the things that are not so fun is when it is cold, and in whether it's certain parts of our house or certain parts of where we've been used to spending time. Maybe you've been used to spending time outside for the summer, and you don't want to have to go in just because it's a little cold if there's something you can do. And Westinghouse said, yeah, there's something we can do. We can make it more comfortable, and we can make it in sort of a portable way, because there are those big tall units that you've seen. Maybe you've seen them at, you know, at restaurants and things of that nature. We don't live in a restaurant. We live at home. We want something that's going to be more built for home use, which is what this is. I know in our last almost 90 seconds or so to go around, we have fewer than 300 of them now left. Lou, these are going fast because these are the kinds of things that allow us to do the things we want to do. Like you said, RV, be outside, do projects and things of that outside, and do it in a very comfortable way.
Yeah, anywhere inside or outside your home. And Tamara, like you were saying, those outside units, the big propane ones, we've seen them at restaurants and, you know, outside festivals and things like that. And they're great for outside. You can't bring that into your living room, okay? This can go into the living room. It can go in the bedroom. It can go in the RV, the basement, the attic, the garage, all those places. And you could sit on your porch with it. We have a beautiful wooden porch that overlooks a lake, and it's fabulous. But there's a certain time of year where it just starts to get cold out there. And I wouldn't just drag any heater out there, but I will take my Westinghouse there. We do have one at the house, and I do use it out there, Tamara, because quite frankly, in a wooden porch, you don't want to build a fire. That's a bad idea. The Westinghouse, it's okay out there.